Hi guys, this is Lynn. I am going to do a little quick tutorial today with you on using the new Sweet and Sassy scripture crosses. I'm going to use this one, the one that has the big He is risen. And I'm going to create a sunrise scene. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to use some Distress Oxides. For this you could use Distress inks. You could use other inks if you'd like, but I had Distress Oxide inks on my table and decided that since they were there, that's what I would play with. I went online and typed in sunrise and just sort of typed an image, flipped through the images until I found one that I thought that I could grab my inks and duplicate the way I could duplicate. Let's get started. Alright, so to start off with, I created two masks. You can use your scissors. I just happen to have a die cut to create like a hill, and then just a circle. It's going to be my sun. I didn't have masking paper, so I am just going to use this advanced technology called tape. And so for mine, I'll fold that up so you can see it. So for mine, it's just a slight hill. It doesn't need to be, super tall. Sorry, my tape is not wanting to play nice. You do want to do your hill first, and then you'll tape your sun on second, because you will pull up the sun and you'll want to keep the hill as a mask, and then when you're finished you'll take the hill off and kind of work your way from the bottom up to the sun. If you do the hill first and then you try to do it, the ink that you use for your hill, it's gonna bleed into other stuff. So you have to decide how high up in the sky you want your sun to be. I'm gonna just, that's probably good enough for me. Okay, so that is the beginning. Now you're just ready to get inky. My picture showed the sun rising yellow, and it kind of gets a little darker. It gets oranges and reds and into darker colors as it gets to the top of the sky, because it's still dark there. So I'm going to start off with some mustard seed. Okay. And ink up around the sun. The next color I'm going to use is Spiced Marmalade. And just kind of, you want to go around this the circular part of the yellow, but you don't want it to be exact like a rainbow kind of arc, so you kind of just blend it in a little bit. I'm going to work it back and forth. I'm actually using watercolor paper. I think it's just some Strathmore and some cold press, because at the end I am going to do a little bit of just water spots, and Other papers don't really take that very well. Alright, after I've done the orange, I'm going to go back with the yellow again, just to kind of blend it out so there aren't any harsh, weird lines. And it doesn't have to be perfect now. One of the things that I find is that the more, you know, once I'm finished, I'm not really necessarily finished. I can come back and, you know, hit a spot here or there, whatever doesn't make me super happy. I also find that sometimes when I'm blending, instead of just going in a circle, I kind of like pull it or push it, and like you would if you were painting, and just that kind of blends it and doesn't leave like these little circle spots. Okay. Next I'm going to use some Festive Berries. I'm using I'm using 5 colors in my sky today. I'm kind of going to blend up and do several reds, but it's just because that's the way the picture looked to me, but I don't think, you know, that it's necessarily, I mean, it's not, that you don't have to have all of those, I don't think, but, you know, do what looks good to you. Alright, so I'm just going to do a little bit there. I'm going to blend back with the orange, so again, I don't have any of those kind of harsh lines. And I'm not an expert at this. This is just what works for me. So if you have a blending that works better for you, you know, do it and just have fun with it. Next is going to be Fired Brick. That Festive Berries is really pink, so I want a little bit of that pink, but this kind of tones it down a little bit. I don't know. Okay. And then last, I'm going to come in with some Aged Mahogany. That's kind of my almost daytime, but still a little bit of nighttime sky look, I think. And I'm going to go around the top, and I'm going to come in just a teeny tiny bit, like just at the very edge. And it's funny because as I'm doing this card and thinking about it, trying to tell you what I'm doing, I noticed some of my, like my little tapping, I don't know, instead of brushing and getting a lot of ink, I just tap it and get just a little. Alright, so now I'm going to go back down with all the colors and just make sure that everything is blended for one little final, and this time I'm going to kind of bring that red back down on the side a little bit. The Festive Berries. way back to the yellow. I'm going to kind of pull the yellow up away from the center a little bit, because you know, sun rays kind of look like that. And it's not going to color it, but it kind of does give it like a little bit of a brighter look. Okay, so this is what we have so far. This is my sunrise. I'll take off the mask. Ooh. Alright, so now, so we don't have this ginormous white sun in the sky, I'm going to, and I probably won't even ink it up, I'm just going to use my brush and I'm going to gently just go over, very, very, very light pressure, go over this sun's area just to give it a little color so it's not this stark white. Okay. So there is my sunrise so far. Clean up my mess a bit. I have these little little circle Velcro that I found at the dollar store. They call them fasteners, and there's two sides, and only one side works. So I have a whole bunch of leftover of the other side, but they work really well. These stick right on. Clean up my mess a little bit so I don't, in this part I get like super inky as I'm doing this. I like to try to wash my hands a little bit, because I find that when I start working in the lower part of the card, if I happen to put my hand where the sun is, then I will get red or pink or whatever color down further than I want it to be. And unfortunately, I know that from experience. So let's take off this mask. Okay, so for this next step, I am going to use a set, a Sweet and Sassy set. I love this set. I use it whenever I can, but this is called the Landscape Silhouettes, and I'm just going to use this little strip of grass. And I am going to grab my Misty tool for this. You don't have to have it, but since I can't stand over it and look down on it, I'm going to use it just to kind of keep me in line. With my Misty tool, I like to take the card and really and truly firmly put it in the corner so that when I lift it up, if it happens to, sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it sticks and it might move a bit. So if I know if it's firmly in the corner, then it's going to go back in the exact same position. Alright, so I'm going to put the grasses down on the slope, and I'm going to try to do it the best that I can right now. Well, I'll just kind of lay it at a slant, but I want to look at it and kind of line it up so that it's actually curled along the slope that I created for my hill. And I'm trying to get the middle part of the grass to be on the border, this border where the white meets the sunrise. I don't want it to be at the very top, and I don't want it to be too far down. I want it to actually be kind of in the middle of the grasses, so you see the grasses in the sunrise, but you also have some of the black part down here, because I'm going to blend that down so that it's more like a hill rather than just like a piece of grass. Alright, I'm gonna get this lined up. I'm going to use black soot for this. Sorry, I'm noticing that. And this is why I get so dirty. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I noticed that this piece is, you see some white behind it, and so that I don't have that big piece of white and it looks like I'm kind of made a mistake, I'm just going to lift it up and do it again. It won't matter that it's crisscrossing or there we go. But you definitely don't want to have white or it just looks like it's an unfinished piece. Okay. This next one, I'm just going to clean off my stamp a little bit. I am going to just move it over, and it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to place the stamp kind of right here, making sure that the top part here is not, it can be anytime, anywhere under it, it's fine. I'll show you what I mean. And again, you can do this without this missing. It actually might have been easier. And, you know, standing over it probably is helpful. Okay. So there are my grasses. Yep. I'm going to go in, just because I like to see a little bit of some higher grasses right here. I'm just going to go in and touch the black and manually put some in. Okay. And now I'm going to just come in here and fill it in. I'm going to use sort of the edge here, and I'll go up to this to try to blend where these edges come. You have to blend it just a little bit for a little while. It's not, you just kind of have to work with it. Just a couple of strokes over this line so that it'll blend into your taller area. Now, I like for mine to be really dark, so I go back over it quite a few times just to make sure that the edge of my stamps and my blend in, and also I like for my little hill area to be good and dark. So that's it. So here is your sunrise. Now, I thought it would be such a nice little backdrop for the new Sweet and Sassy scripture crosses. And I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do this one that says He is risen. Put my guy back in my Misty, because I am going to want to make sure that this is good and dark, so if it doesn't stamp right the first time, I want to stamp it. Now this has a little, it has the verse, Matthew 28:6 on the bottom. I'm going to try to show that, but actually looks like I made my hill a little too tall. So I'm going to try to lay it right there. I'm going to put it off to the side a little bit. And I'm going to use some Versamark Onyx Black just because I want it to be really crisp and dark. Alright, and then I have created a card base with using Nina Solar White and just a piece of black cardstock for that is just, it looks like it's about, I actually have a die cut that I use for this, but I think it's about 1/8 of an inch smaller and put in the middle. And then I will if you guys have used this extreme tape, I find that it works better when you're using watercolor paper, but it's tricky to get out. If anybody has a easy way to do that, I'd love to hear it. Alright, there's my card. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're inspired to try this yourself. Sometimes it's fun just to get good and inky.